A cargo ship was sailing from Romania to England. When the Coast Guard found it, the vessel was completely abandoned. There wasn't a single living soul on board. The lighthouse crew discovered the wreck and recovered the captain's logbook, which detailed everything that had happened and how everyone on board had died. 4 days earlier, Captain Elliot and his first mate, Wojciech, were looking for sailors to join them aboard the ship Demeter bound for England. A doctor named Clemens, who had studied at University of Cambridge, approached them, hoping to work with the crew. Wojciech refused to hire him and chose 3 other men instead. But Clemens did not give up and followed them. While they were loading the cargo onto the ship, one of the men panicked when he saw a crate marked with a dragon symbol. The crate slipped and nearly crushed a young boy named Toby, the captain's grandson. But Clemens saved him at the last moment. The frightened man fled, believing the dragon symbol to be a bad omen. The captain thanked Clemens, and they all boarded the ship. Toby gave Clemens a tour of the vessel, showing him the cargo, the livestock, and his dog, Huckleberry. Later, Clemens dined with the crew and spoke about his desire to understand how this world truly works. At that moment, the crate bearing the dragon symbol began to move and fell over, as if something inside it had escaped. The ship set course for England, but soon they discovered that all the animals, including Huck, had been slaughtered in a brutal manner. Toby was devastated, and Clemens tried to comfort him. After throwing the animals' bodies into the sea, they inspected the cargo and found a woman near death inside one of the crates. Clemens performed a blood transfusion in an attempt to save her. A sailor named Petrovsky began insulting both the doctor and the woman, and when Clemens tried to respond, Larson pulled a knife on him. Later, Toby told Clemens that the woman had started speaking softly and said her name was Anna. That night, Petrovsky was on watch while everyone else slept. He heard a strange clicking sound and went to investigate. What he saw shocked him. A pale, sickly creature crawling across the ship. Before he could react, the monster attacked him, slashed his throat with its claws, and began feeding on his blood. The crew grew weaker from exhaustion and fear when they found Petrovsky's blood smeared across the deck. Wojciech began to suspect Clemens and accused him, even though Clemens was the one who discovered the body. One night, while Olgarin and Larson were standing watch, the creature attacked Larson, dragged his face across the floor, and devoured him. Olgarin tried to escape and climbed up to the upper deck, but the monster caught him and bit his wrist, leaving him alive, but clearly infected. They tied Olgarin to a post to treat him, but when night fell, he broke free and attacked young Toby, having transformed into a bloodthirsty creature. Toby ran to the captain's cabin and locked himself inside. The crew sensed the danger, rushed below deck, seized Olgarin, and tried to break down the door to save Toby. Anna grabbed a rifle and shot the lock, but it was too late. The monster had already attacked Toby and drained him of his blood. They left Abrams on watch above deck, but Joseph betrayed him, struck him unconscious, and attempted to flee in a lifeboat to escape the cursed ship. The horrifying truth, however, was that the creature could fly. It found Joseph and killed him, and the lifeboat later drifted back to the ship, empty and soaked in blood. As sunrise approached, Olgarin was tied to the ship's mast, screaming that he could hear everything: the wind, the waves, even the blood flowing through people's veins. The moment sunlight touched him, he began to burn in agonizing torment until Wojciech shot him in the head to end his suffering. Then Anna spoke to Clemens and revealed the truth. All of this was caused by a creature named Dracula, who had lived in a castle near her village. The monster had bitten her and intended to use her as a living blood supply during the voyage. But the blood transfusions Clemens had given her were what prevented her from turning into a creature like Olgarin. The crew feared that what had happened to Olgarin might also happen to Toby. They wrapped the boy in a shroud and prepared to cast his body into the ocean. As Anna began praying over him, Captain Elliot, overwhelmed by grief and losing his sanity, imagined that the child was moving. When they opened the shroud, Toby had turned into a vampire. The moment sunlight touched him, he burst into flames before their eyes. The captain's hands were burned as he tried to hold the boy. In the end, they threw Toby into the sea where he perished, leaving Elliot completely broken and consumed by despair. As the ship neared England, the crew were terrified of bringing Dracula with them to the country. Captain Elliot began losing his mind, believing he could somehow use Dracula to bring Toby back to life. But Anna convinced him it was nothing but madness. They decided to make a final stand and sink the ship with everything aboard. Though Wojciech opposed the plan, As he considered the vessel his home and life's work, night fell, and the monster appeared. The first man Dracula killed was Abrams. Captain Elliot chose to go down with his ship. Wojciech fell from above and crushed his leg, and Dracula pounced on him, killing him before he could reach Elliot. Clemens tried to fight Dracula, but the creature seized him by the throat. Clemens told him, "I am not afraid of you." Then Dracula spoke for the first time in a terrifying voice. "You will be." Anna grabbed a rifle and shot Dracula, then cut down the ship's mast to pin him in place. She and Clemens managed to leap from the ship before it crashed against the rocky shores of England. But Dracula survived and escaped. At dawn, Clemens realized that Anna had begun to turn into a vampire. He wanted to give her another blood transfusion, but she refused, telling him it would only delay the inevitable. She said goodbye at sunrise and burned before his eyes until she died. Clemens eventually arrived in London, where everyone was talking about the crew of the Demeter who had all perished. He went to a bar searching for the abbey where Dracula had once lived. Suddenly, he heard the same eerie clicking sound he had heard on the ship. There, in the heart of London, he saw Dracula, dressed like a gentleman, this time carrying a cane topped with a wolf's head. Clemens followed him and swore that he would not rest until he sent this devil back to hell forever.